Welcome to the next video of CISSP certification training, domain 1, security and risk management. Risk management is the foundation of information security program, and it is essential for any business to operate. Companies are taking risks every day, and our goal is to make sure those risks are identified and minimized. Some examples of cybersecurity risks are inappropriate access controls allows unauthorized users to access sensitive information. A server with no malware protection gets infected with a virus, or cyber criminals deface a vulnerable web application. As part of our cybersecurity program, we need to document all those risks and have remediation plans to minimize those. Knowing threats and vulnerabilities and what they are is essential in order to be able to identify the risks properly. Threats are potential occurrence of a harmful event. So that could be natural or anything else, whether it is flood or earthquake or fire, or whether it's terrorism or cyber attack or things like that. Vulnerabilities are the weaknesses on the environment or systems which can allow threats to do a harm. Some examples of vulnerabilities are lack of air conditioning in the data center, or no backup power supply or redundant power supply, or the fact that no security patch has been installed on a server, and etc. A threat actor or malicious actor is a person or entity responsible for a threat scenario and that has the potential to impact the safety or security of the organization. Some examples of threat actors are hacker, which is malicious individual who attacks computer systems, outsider, which is attacker with no authorized access to the systems. Insider is an internal user with authorized access to the systems. A bot, which is a system running malware that is controlled via a central command and control called botnet. Phisher is a malicious actor who attempts to trick users into doing something harmful. And spearfisher is a type of fisher who pretends being authorized member of the company. So these are some examples of threat actors. In order for the risk to be valid, both threats and vulnerabilities, or both a threat and a vulnerability, need to be present for a particular asset. If only one of those two is present, that doesn't really qualify for the risk. Example is if we have some system vulnerabilities on a web application that is only available for a few users on an internal isolated network, the risks are so much lower than having the same web server with the same vulnerability accessible on the internet. Because on the internet, we have additional threat actors and additional threats. So the risks are really different when we're dealing with the same asset with the same vulnerabilities, but different threats. So I'm just going to repeat that again. In order for the risk to be valid, both threats and vulnerabilities need to be present on a particular asset. There are two main types of assets. They're tangible or intangible. Tangible assets are normally hardwares or devices, while intangible assets are non-hardware assets like data, like application, like humans, like software, etc. Classifying assets will help to identify the importance of them for the business and be able to identify the risks associated with those assets properly. When we are evaluating an asset, we need to consider the cost of the asset itself, the cost of replacing it, and also the impact to the business if that asset is lost or compromised. The impact could be different though. The impact could be operational impact, customer loss, stakeholder loss, and so on. Risk management frameworks will help us to be able to identify, um, assess, and manage risks in a structured format. Some examples of risk management frameworks are COSO, which is a corporate governance model that helps a company to comply with the Sarbanes-Oxley Act for public companies. ISO 27005 is a set of standards that covers risk identification, evaluation, analysis, and treatments. And NIST 800-30 document, which is a complete guide and information about IT risk assessments and management and steps that need to be taken in order to reduce the risks to an acceptable level.